Hello again, guys. I covered this set of slides in our um, lecture 2, and they cover few things which were not covered in tutorial about HTML. For example, we never touched what section element is, what div is, what span is, and there are few more I think in this set of slides. Div was used in HTML pages and HTML websites for giving structure, and it actually groups different elements for styling purposes, and now it should only be used um, for there is no other semantic element such as article or nav is appropriate. The basic syntax is div style color, whatever color you want to give to the foreground. Then h3, for example, it is this division, this div is composed of an h3 heading and a paragraph. Now, in HTML5, there is a header element, there is a nav element, there's a footer element, and there are other couple of new elements that have replaced div. Therefore, as I said earlier, it should be used when there is no other semantic element such as nav and footer and header are present, then you can use div. The other semantic elements that we were talking about are section, article, header, footer, nav, and aside, for example. Section element defines a part of website with related content. So it's a semantic division of your website. When I say semantic division, it means it contains some content of your website which is related. Um, yeah. And then article defines an independent piece of content which should be able to stand on its own and still make sense. So it's not dependent on anything that your section is defining, your header is defining, but it can stand on its own. Then your header, which defines the header of your section or document. Footer is usually contains the website author or any other things. Nav is the navigation, so usually have one navigation element on a page, and that can be used in different pages as well. Then assigned defines a section with secondary content. So if a sign is placed within an article, the content should be related to that specific article. Right. So as I said earlier, the section element and the elements that we covered in last slide are, and then the elements that we have discussed in the last slides are semantic HTML. And as I mentioned, semantic HTML makes up the logic of the content. So whatever your content is about, and if you are dividing your content based on some kind of logic, some kind of themes, related groups, then you form sections. Just like, sections in your reports, chapter 1, chapter 2. So those are sections defining whatever is in one section. Right. And when are you going to use them? They are definitely for layout purposes. For layout purpose, we also used div. So div was being used for everything. Now with HTML5, we have these new tags which are replacing basically div tag. And they are providing more structure to your HTML page. Right, and they form a group, and they can be used in a section. Then we have span element. Why we are using span element? And before going into span, you should before going into that, what is block level element and what is inline element? A block level element always starts on a new line and takes up the whole width of the page, stretching from left to right. And an inline element does not need to start on a new line. It just takes up as much width as it is required, and you can learn more about these in here. So div is a block level element, while span is a inline container. And we are going to use span and div in our next lecture. Therefore, I wanted to introduce both of these in this set of. That's all. And now I'll move to cascading style sheets.